Hi, welcome to the Dartarian Show. I'm Alexander Dartarian, and with me is a very special guest, Brandon.
How's it going?
We're going to talk about Skinwalkers today. You brought this to me. You wanted to talk about it a little bit more. You're a fan of the show, so you listen to pretty much all the episodes, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've listened to all of them up to now.
Yeah. And we did Skinwalkers all the way back to episode 1 and 2 with Urban Legends Colorado and Skinwalker Ranch. We touched on them a little bit. I told a couple stories about how, they use red powder and blow it in your face and it kills you and shit. And Dom knows a lot about them and stuff, but he's going to be sitting out this one because there's only room for 2 people in the studio. So,
I mean,
yeah.
do what you gotta do.
So let's go into a little bit of the background. So basically, the background of Skinwalkers is the Navajo Nation. They're pretty much, that's the only indigenous people that have anything to do with the Skinwalkers.
Right.
So it's just the Navajo. That's it. Like, a lot of people think that it's other tribes, but it's predominantly the Navajo.
Well, other tribes have their own kind of take on it,
Yeah.
but Navajo is the main one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking too, because I know during when the Skinwalker Ranch we did the Ute tribe, that's where Skinwalker Ranch resides, is Ute tribe's land, and then the Navajo were 300 miles north of them, so that's why people are like, how are Skinwalkers seen on Skinwalker Ranch? Because that's not Navajo land. So that's what basically, a Skinwalker in Navajo culture is a harmful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. The term is never used for healers. So it's always an evil term, Skinwalkers. It's never a witch doctor who heals you. So,
Right.
All right. And in the Navajo language, I'm not going to... You want to attempt to pronounce that word?
No.
No? All
Because
right.
I don't want to offend anyone.
No, we don't want to offend anyone here. So I'll just tell you what it translates to. By means of it, it goes on all fours is the translation from the Navajo language. Definitely not going to butcher their language. It's also...
Typically, skinwalkers are some type of animal shape.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there's renditions of it in horror movies, non-native horror movies, basically just where white people have taken Navajo culture and turned it into a nightmare-fueled movies and stuff. And basically, I don't know, but it's not well understood outside Navajo culture, the legend of the Skinwalkers. The traditional Navajo people are reluctant to reveal Skinwalker lore to non-Navajos.
Yeah, there's
they're
not a
very
lot
protective.
on skinwalkers.
No, there's
period.
not. Other than like what we've pretty much made up for horror purposes and stuff.
Right.
I know Skinwalkers is really big on TikTok right now.
Yeah, I've seen a couple where they hear human like screams or
The help.
the help,
help. Yeah,
and it sounds like unhuman.
yeah. We actually had we read an email back on Hauntings. I think it was the episode Hauntings from Donna. She heard something scream help, and it was like actually a group of them. So we didn't know if it was the Skinwalkers or if it was Wendigos.
Right.
So, I mean, both of those are of native descent. So I don't, and I think the natives don't talk about Wendigos either. So we don't have a lot of information about those either.
The indigenous people are very superstitious, so they feel as if they speak of it, then it will come true.
Yeah.
And that's probably why we don't know much about it. I feel like the main topic that people really associate Skinwalkers with is Skinwalker Ranch,
Yeah.
because that's the main, when you think of Skinwalkers, that's what you think of,
Yeah.
because it just has so much to the story.
Yeah, and especially because when we were talking about it, we were talking about the big wolf that the guy saw,
Right.
that he shot at or shot it. They literally think that was a Skinwalker, and
Could be that or a dire wolf.
I think the dude was just crazy. I think he was just there was a whole bunch of other stuff that we didn't even go into during that episode where he had insomnia, like stuff was keeping him up at night. He had seen a lot of stuff other than that, and it was just probably just like hysteria. He saw something in the dark. It could have been it could have been a coyote, to be honest with you. Like I
think you said in the episode it could have just been a bear, and he
like a bear or just a pack of wolves. I mean, when you're in the dark, I mean, it's not like here where we can see stuff pretty well. Like out in 512 acres, it's pitch black at night.
Yeah. There's no light pollution in the Midwest.
Yeah, so it definitely could have been anything, to be honest with you. Or he could have been crazy, man. The legend behind them is pretty much they're associated with witchcraft, obviously, through Navajo witch doctors and stuff. They're tricksters as well, like from great spirits tricksters, and they usually take the form of coyotes.
Right.
But they can come out as other creatures. You see pictures of skinwalkers on the internet that have elongated arms and legs, and like they don't look like any animal anyone's ever seen. Like they look scary.
Yeah.
So, and then you also have renditions where they just put the animal fur on, and that like they don't take a form of the animal; they just put it on, and they go into another mental state, kind of like someone on acid or mushrooms or something.
Kind of like a split personality.
Yeah, kind of like that. They put like tribes in Africa have masks that they use, and then when they put the mask on, you're not you anymore.
Right.
Like you're literally
taking on another
persona, yeah. And you can literally murder someone with that mask on. Take it off. You can't be charged with murder because the mask had influence on you. Like that's how sacred and important masks are to African culture. So with the Navajo culture, this is my belief. My opinion. I don't know if this is true or not. But my belief is that they use those animal furs to take on a different persona and maybe do a little more shady shit than they would have without it. You know, like kind of like I wouldn't say excuse because I don't want to belittle the Navajo people, but an outlet maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think that's where it came from? Is someone...
I think, yeah, I kind of do. I think that someone was just maybe wanted to do something and didn't think that they could do it, and maybe asked the great spirits to help them, and then they found a dead animal, skinned it, and then wore it, and that was their way of saying, like, the great spirits answering them.
Right.
So, because I think first world demons that they believe in those. And that's one of the things that they attribute skinwalkers to is like first world demons and stuff.
Right.
And then there's also some stories, skinwalker stories, that some historians believe that they were told back then to scare children to behave, kind of like Europeans told their kids about the boogeyman. They told their children that, Skinwalker, if you got to be careful, behave, don't wander too far from home or Skinwalker will get you. And then, like, as it grew, the story grew too. So, like, it's almost like an urban legend within the Navajo.
Right.
So,
I feel like that's a majority of what happens with these folklore and legends.
Yeah.
Is some parent came up with a story and said, If this, if you don't behave, this thing is gonna come after you.
Yeah, and they had like coyotes and they had wolves and stuff that roam the land and stuff. And most of the time, wolves do not attack humans. Like like a pack of wolves. Like I know that you see them in movies and stuff that they'll go out and out of their way to attack humans. They usually don't.
Right.
But I mean, if they get hungry enough or if food's scarce enough, they'll attack people and stuff, and especially a small child. So my thing is like maybe like the story started, the Skinwalker story started, to keep the kids home, and then one kid went out, got killed by wolves or something, or
Right.
coyote, and then that just cemented it. You know what I mean? Like it like set it in stone. Like oh shit, Skinwalkers are real,
Yeah.
and that's why the Navajo people of nowadays still fear it, because it's so imbued in their culture, and like kind of like La Llorona is in Hispanic culture.
Right.
So I mean, like, or us, the boogeyman,
Yeah.
which I think the boogeyman, I think it's universal. I think every culture has a
feel like
boogeyman.
that's, yeah. Maybe different words for it, but I feel like that's everywhere.
Yeah. So, but they also have the red powder, like I said, because they are witch doctors, and I don't know if they know exactly what the powder would be, but also if that's one of their defense mechanisms. If you find out they are a Skinwalker, they blow that powder in your face, and it, you die from it. But again, that's stories from Skinwalker Ranch. I don't know if that's true, because there was a lot of stories that came out of Skinwalker Ranch that are debatable with believability.
Right.
So, is there any particular like Skinwalker stuff you want to talk about, or?
It's hard. It's hard because it's such an interesting topic, but like we said, it's not a lot on it. So the main source is really Skinwalker Ranch,
Mm-hmm.
and besides that, you can. The main things are person by person account on what they believe or what they've seen, and that could be correct or just them making something up.
Well, I think the majority of the time when they use the powder, they were in their human form, because there's some legends to where they can't transform. They walk freely among people during the day, and at night that's when they transform into the Skinwalkers, and they're said to be male or female. Like both men and women can be be a Skinwalker. So it's not like a predominantly male or predominantly female. It could be either. But most of the times, these witches evolved from living their lives as respected healers and spiritual guides, and then they kind of turned evil, like something corrupted them, and then they turned in. And that could also attribute to maybe Europeans coming over and pushing into their land, and they see them going over to the European side as kind of like traitors to their own people. Mm-hmm. So maybe like that could be another name for them. Or not, because I mean, I've tried contacting other people about it that I know that are part of the indigenous and the Navajo. They will not talk about it at all. Like they just won't.
Do you think that Skinwalkers could be not necessarily a demon or something like that, but maybe it was started as someone who tried to protect the Native Americans' land when white men did come over. Kind of like a vigilante.
Yeah, almost. I kind of, that does sound really good. Like that sounds like a better story anyways than this people turning evil and going against their own people and stuff. But yeah, I'd absolutely would think that, like, what if a great spirit just imbued animal powers on someone to fight back, because like when Europeans came over here, obviously they had better equipment, better weapons, better armor than the natives at that time, because like the natives were in Stone Age almost still, and we obviously were in Iron Age and industrial stuff, and killing them left and right. But yeah, that I 100%, that would be my guess as well. Like there'd be one theory, and it would probably be a more popular theory than probably some of mine. Like, oh yeah, well they were just doing this, and basically, I think there's actually a list of animals that most skinwalkers could turn into. If you're interested in that.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. They take forms of coyotes, wolves, foxes, cougars, dogs, and bears, but they can literally take any shape of an animal. They then wear the skins of these animals they transform into, hence the name Skinwalker. They choose the animal that they want to turn into, depending on the abilities needed for the particular task, such as speed, strength, endurance, stealth, claws, and teeth. They may transform again if trying to escape from pursuers. So they'll turn into them at night, wear the skin, and they can have multiple skins with them, depending on what they need for that situation. Like strength, a bear. Like if they need to overpower something, they can wear a bear skin, turn into a bear. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like that's a more realistic, within reason, that's a more realistic kind of image of a skinwalker. A lot of times you'll see skinwalkers portrayed as, like you were saying, the really long limbs and the horror aspect of a skinwalker, and that's mainly Hollywood. But I feel like it would be like that, is, they would just use the different skins based on the situation that they were in, or maybe even just like I said, to scare intruders off or something like that.
Yeah, and I think that would be, and they could do both. I mean, if they just like, the only thing is that every skinwalker is supposed to be evil. So like, there's no good skinwalkers. It's according to what I've read and studied.
Right.
But
that could also not mean that they seek to do bad.
Yeah.
It's just if you come across one, then you would probably have a bad time.
Yeah. And I'll have a little bit more information on them. Like I said, there is barely any information on these guys.
I feel like that's why they're interesting, though.
Yeah.
It's not like...
It's kind of like some of the urban legends that me and Dom talk about. Like, what we read, you guys, that's literally everything that we know.
Yeah,
like
that's it.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, I want to know more about that. And I'm like, that's all we got.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. But there's pretty much the magic that they have to use is black magic, and that also gives them longevity in life as well. Skinwalkers tend to live longer than normal humans. It's also how you know that they are skinwalkers, is that they don't age as fast as other people.
Right.
They live longer. But that's not to say that if your grandpa's 103, he's a skinwalker. So don't go
don't go after your grandpa.
Yeah. So they can also read others' minds. They can read minds. They can control their thoughts and behavior, causing disease and illnesses. They can destroy property, and they can cause even death, not without even being near them. So they just use the black magic and do all this stuff without even like going in near anybody. And then they also have the ability to transform into animals at night. So these are very, very powerful witches, and it's right that the Navajo are. First off, I just want to thank Brandon for coming out and doing the first half of this episode with Skinwalkers. Again, we've been plagued by audio,
all kinds of
technical issues, but 100% I think we have it fixed now. So if you guys have been listening to us over the year, We've had a lot of problems with audio. I think that I finally figured out what's wrong. I think it was our mixer this time. So we're just going to try something different, a new setup, and see if that works. But first off, I just want to say thank you to Brandon for coming out. Awesome dude. Scheduling and conflict happened where we couldn't bring it back out. But if you guys want to follow him at Brandonius TV on Twitch, he streams a lot. He plays some Destiny and some other great games. So yeah, just go ahead and follow him at Brandonius TV on Twitch, and that will be in the description of this episode. But we're gonna do half of the episode on another cryptid that in my personal opinion, I believe that it may be the same thing. I don't know, because with Skinwalkers, and I don't know if this will be in the episode because we did have to cut off like half of the episode with Brandon, but he had a really, really good theory about Skinwalkers, and his theory was they were mentally challenged or people with mental disorders.
Oh, okay. Like, so back in the
Yeah,
day.
and indigenous people, tribes.
Right.
And they didn't know, like, what that was. Obviously, they didn't know what that was.
Right.
I mean, we're still discovering stuff that with the brain and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what he thought. Like, maybe that was his theory. And I really, really like that theory. So I really hope it's in the episode. But, yeah, like, never even crossed my mind. I'm thinking, like, cryptid. I'm thinking, like, freaking.
Well, that goes along with the whole thing of usually there's a rational explanation for
Yeah,
something. We just
absolutely.
haven't discovered it yet. So that's very possible. Maybe that's where the legends come from. You know?
Yeah, and he was really thinking about it rationally and stuff, and I really like that. And I told him I liked it. I was like, I just really hope it's in the episode, because my reaction's like, what? I didn't even think of that. Like, I felt stupid for not thinking about it.
Nah, I mean,
Like, but Chupacabra. I mean, like, most of the time when you think of Chupacabra, you automatically think of Latin American countries.
right.
But one of the biggest states is Texas.
Yeah.
For Chupacabras. Like that, it's not the biggest. I mean, obviously, it's the biggest state, but I mean, like, it's like the most sightings,
Right.
that I believe. But the first sighting wasn't even in Mexico, where the name actually cropped up a little bit.
Right.
It was in Puerto Rico.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in 1995 is the first sighting.
Oh, so like that's like the first time a Chupacabra has ever.
First reported sighting. That doesn't mean that was the first time it's ever been seen. Sorry, seen. But that's when they finally called it Chupacabra.
Goat sucker.
Yeah, goat sucker translates to goat sucker.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it is a monstrous creature that attacks animals and consumes their blood.
Yeah.
Obviously, the name is derived from Spanish words like chupra, to suck, cabra, goat.
Yeah.
It's probably not real, but it is the southern equivalent to the Sasquatch.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big synonymous creature of like Latin America and southern parts of the United States.
Right.
Just because it's seen as much as Bigfoot is up north and Sasquatch, but it's also, there's a lot of what am I trying to say? There's no specimens of it. Well, with Bigfoot, we have hair.
Yeah.
We have fingerprints or footprints. And then we also have video. We have video evidence of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Whether or not that was faked, I know that a lot of people think that thing was faked, and that, like, the guy who was supposedly in the outfit came forward, but there's people that looked at that video and was like, that's not a human.
Yeah, there's allegedly been a bunch of just like the actual flesh and blood Chupacabra bodies, and been brought in to scientists, throughout the years, but almost all of the cases, those turned out to be like coyotes that have been suffering from severe cases of mange.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I can see how that could. Coyotes without hair I can see that looking like a.
Yeah, it just happened.
Yeah.
It just happened. Literally with like this, either this year or last year, they found a coyote with mange.
Right.
Right. and it was so bad. They literally thought they found a new species. They didn't say Chupacabra. They said new species.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, it's a coyote, 100%.
Yeah, it just had mange.
Yeah, it just had mange. Poor coyote, because
Yeah, that sucks.
mange looks like it sucks
Yeah.
really bad.
Yeah. No, but that's okay. So we're obviously you're probably going to get into more details on the origins of the chupacabra, where it comes from, and all that stuff, and anything else like that. But before we do that, in your opinion, if you don't think that it is something supernatural or cryptid like,
Yeah.
what would be the explanation for these livestock that have shown up with the, what do they call them, the
Puncture marks?
puncture marks in their neck and then drained of blood and stuff like that?
I don't
Because
know.
vampire bats drink blood, but they basically just puncture and then lick the blood up a little bit, and that's I mean, it's by no means like draining them or anything like that, and they don't even get that big.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that maybe it could be a cult or something.
There's just like a cult that goes around and kills livestock with puncture wounds.
I don't know. Maybe it's people who, it may be in the cult that they believe that they're vampires. It could be a group of people that actually 100% believe they are real vampires, and like Twilight, they want to be vegetarians. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's weirder stuff has happened in the world.
That's true.
But no, like, maybe it's a new species we haven't found yet. Maybe it's like vampire bats, but it's like a vampire creature. I'm not saying it's like a dog-like creature.
Well, it might be. Maybe like there's some kind of a mammal that we haven't discovered yet that sustains itself on just blood. But I don't know.
I don't think it would be that big though. I really don't.
No.
I don't. I think it would be obviously
Weasel sized.
big. Yeah, like a weasel or a giant rodent.
Maybe. Yeah.
Or maybe just a giant bat.
Yeah.
The flying fox. I mean, have you ever seen a flying fox
they're
bat?
Huge.
Yeah, they're huge.
They're
So if you think about what if a vampire bat, a species of vampire bat, got that big?
It's possible. I mean, I don't see why not.
I would think it would be able to drain a pig or a goat.
Yeah, for sure.
But friggin' so the chupacabra only recently joined the vampire and the beastry of blood-sucking creatures. Chupacabras were first reported in 1995 in Puerto Rico, like I said before. They were blamed for attacking goats, sheep, and other domestic animals,
Right.
supposedly leaving uneaten carcasses that were drained of blood.
Yeah.
Early reports described a creature that could stand upright and resembled a large reptilian kangaroo with huge red eyes. So standing upright. So I don't.
It's like a marsupial type.
Yeah, but it brings me back to when we talked about the lizard man in Urban Legends, South Carolina. Reptilians come up a lot.
Yeah, whether it be an alien species or Hollow Earth.
Yeah,
or,
it's that
conspiracy theorists
keeps coming up, or like they've taken over Obama or something like that. But like it comes up a lot. So what in our back, like, is it our reptilian mind or whatever, or like the reptile brain or whatever, lizard brain?
Yeah.
Is that causing it to come back to the forefront? Because like, what if it's a dinosaur that hasn't died out, like a crocodile or something? But I don't know. Like, there's so many different. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's no actual specimens that have ever been found.
Yeah, there's no
definitive proof. The skeptics suggested that witnesses may have been influenced by the Hollywood science fiction horror film Species, which also came out that same year.
Oh, so you think that kind of helped?
It features a monster with similar appearances. But other sightings were reported throughout the Americas and as far north as the United States. So a different type of chupacabra, which was also reported in many of the same places. These chupacabras were small and stood upon 4 feet. They were genuinely canine in appearance, but hairless.
The coyote.
Yeah, the coyote with mange.
Yep, that's where that came from.
Yep. Actual specimens were produced, but they were identified by biologists as coyotes, dogs, or canine hybrids. The animals owed their strange appearance to hair loss resulting in mange and an infestation of mite. I'm not going to say the scientific name for it because it's really hard to say. it was suggested that the canines attacked livestock because of the debilitating effects of the infestation put wild prey out of reach. So they attack domestic animals because they're easier.
Yeah,
they're in a pen already.
But all they do is drain the blood. They don't like try to eat it or anything.
I mean,
it's kind of weird.
If you bite a neck,
yeah,
it's gonna bleed out.
I know, but like,
and the ground would soak up most of the blood. But obviously, Chupacabra found itself in popular culture very fast. Both types have served as monsters in low-budget films.
Yeah.
So that I don't know. It's really hard with the Chupacabra, right? Because the simple fact of the matter is, like, there's no evidence whatsoever. There's no every evidence they have found is been something with mange, like a canine species with mange.
Yeah, unless it's like aliens, and the government's just has kept it from us up to this point, you know.
Well, like reptilians really came.
Well, I don't know, because you know they denied the existence of UFOs and shit forever, and then all of a sudden now here they are releasing files and stuff. Oh yeah, no, they're 100% real.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Yeah, I know. It's weird. And especially with social media and TikTok and everything else, you would think that something would be caught on camera. And I'm not talking about they film it on a freaking 1990s cell phone.
Yeah.
Like, this is 2022. Like, I don't accept any kind of videos that aren't in, like, at least 480p.
Yeah.
Like,
it's hard because everything can be doctored now.
Yeah, everything can be doctored, but there's ways to figure it out. Like, there's software to backtrack and stuff. Most not really. You can get it online for free.
Well, I mean, most common people that will get online and they'll see something, and if it looks real enough, they'll believe it.
Yeah, I'm one of them. Like, I've thought that. Remember that giant rabbit? We found a 1930s picture online, and it had a what was it? A jack? No, it was a grasshopper. It was a grasshopper, and it was the size of a dog. No, it was the size of a dog, dude. That thing was freaking huge. But it was, like, shot in the 1930s, and I believed it 100%. I was like, it's in black and white. You can't doctor a black and white photo. But apparently you can.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I'm one of them. I'm a really big, like, I saw a picture, so it has to be real. Right. But, like, it's kind of weird because I'm like, ghosts aren't real.
Yeah.
Demons aren't real.
Yeah.
And I was like, but that grasshopper, that was real.
I'm the opposite of you, though. I'm skeptical out of the gate, but I believe shit more than you do. I believe in ghosts, I believe in demons, stuff like that. But I'm like, I will see something and I'll instantly be skeptical of it. Like, oh no, that shit has to be fake. You
believe in the human experience.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what it is. Like, when someone tells you that, like, they've seen a ghost and they tell, like, that thing, and, like, they really, you can always tell when someone really believes it or when someone's bullshitting.
Yeah.
Like, just the way that they are, their mannerisms, their conviction of that story. And unless they're, like, a psychopath and a compulsive liar and stuff, you can usually tell that, you know, they're lying, or they're being genuine.
Being genuine about what they believe they
saw.
So,
like, most of the ghost stories that we read about, there's also, like, a video or just, like, you know, like, you with TikTok. I know it's huge right now. By the way, we have a TikTok.
Yeah.
So go check that out.
Sneak that in there.
Yeah, a little segue there. But it's huge right now. Like, the guy that went into, he was a security guard at a graveyard. You remember that? When he went into the mausoleum? And, like, the lights were and banging was happening and stuff.
I think so, yeah.
I don't know if that was faked or not, but his fear, like, was genuine.
Yeah, there's
like, I felt it.
There was a huge wave of I don't know if you call it found footage, but just, you know, documentary style videos on YouTube for a while about, like, people having paranormal
but
activity
again,
and stuff like that.
You can sort of tell which one's staged. Like, this one I was watching, he went through his house and he's like, well, I've been having paranormal activity all throughout the house and stuff, and he goes and the lights turn off, and then he, like, kind of pans the camera and then sees the thing, and then it goes dark.
Yeah.
And then he posts the video later. And then I was like, bro, you're supposed to be dead.
With all the technology that we have nowadays, why is it every time you see a video of something that is supposed to be scary or unexplainable or something like that, it looks like it's shot on like an old Nokia phone.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You
Like a
can't
1990s
see
phone.
crap, or they're shaking the camera so bad that you can't tell what the hell is going on.
Well,
Why can't anybody just like...
The shaky cam, I think, especially if it's faked.
If I see a
It
video like
tributes
that,
to
I
it.
automatically think it's fake.
Yeah.
Automatically.
But I
It could
also
be,
think
which is weird though, because if you think about it, if something like that is actually happening, you're probably not going to be able to keep the camera still. You know, if something like that is legitimately happening.
I think it's less scary if you're looking through your phone screen.
Yeah.
Like
maybe.
you know that it's probably called something, but when you film something, right, like a natural disaster or crime, like obviously don't film. Like if you're gonna film a crime, you know, like those people that filmed that rape on the train, right? They should have stepped in. They should have fought him off and stuff. And that poor lady is gonna have to like live with that, because she literally looked at like a group of people filming this instead of helping her. And she's going to have to go through a shit load of therapy for the rape, and also for people just standing around and not doing anything. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
But they were watching it through their phone lenses, right? Like, I think that's a big factor in it. They were watching it through their phone lenses, so it was easier, I guess, to watch.
I don't know. I couldn't do it.
It's why people watch gore on websites and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they go to gore sites because you
like
you
a
can
filter
always tell
between
your
you and
you
what's
can
actually
you're
happening.
like, well, I'm not a bad person because I didn't do this.
Yeah.
I didn't even film it. I'm watching it. You know, like you can disassociate yourself from that situation through. And with the internet, we're so desensitized. I mean, it's bad. I mean, we're so desensitized that they didn't help that lady. They didn't help that lady on the train.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, yeah, if Chupacabra comes out, right? You should be able to hold your phone still. You know, the internet has taught us that a lot of bad shit happens, and we're able to film a rape, but we're not able to film a Chupacabra.
Well, I guess that means Chupacabra's just not real then.
Yeah, that's I don't know.
or it's just hasn't been caught.
Yeah, it doesn't get caught, but like you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I've got kind of like a timeline of different Chupacabra sightings. If you want to.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So in the mid 1970s, in Rio Grande Valley, South Texas, sightings of what may have been a condor linked to a rash of mutilated cattle. Right, blood was removed to the last drop. In the early 70s, in Brownsville, Texas, a rancher finds a bull dead, no blood around it and no tracks. 94 in Puerto Rico, 4 or 6 little grays found under a bed and chased out of the house with a broom, reported by Joyce Murphy.
Grays, like the aliens?
I'm assuming that they meant that, like the aliens. I don't know what that has to do with the...
Or gray wolves.
I don't know. It just says grays.
How's it spelled?
Like gray, like the color gray. Grey.
Grey?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I was wondering, because I think the aliens are spelled a certain way.
I have no idea.
I don't know, whatever.
1995, in Orocovis, 8 sheep were found dead. They had 3 strange marks or puncture holes in the chest and were described as completely drained of blood. Also in 95, in Puerto Rico, the Chupacabra was blamed for the death of about 150 animals. They were blamed in the deaths of dozens of turkeys, rabbits, goats, cats, dogs, horses, cows. Even was said to have ripped open the bedroom window of a house in the north central city of Caugus and destroyed a stuffed teddy bear. Left a puddle of slime and a piece of rancid white meat on the windowsill. It had hairy arms and huge red eyes. And in another attack, it came at about 7 a.m. Just showed up and poof, it vanished.
It attacked a teddy bear?
Yeah. And left some kind of a puddle of slime and rancid white meat.
So, obviously, it's not an intelligent creature because... I mean,
you can't tell the difference between...
Yeah, you can't tell the difference between a teddy bear and a real animal.
Yep.
So, unless it was like the most realistic teddy bear you've ever seen in your life.
Right.
Like a giant one, you know, like, oh, it's a bear. I'm going to fuck this bear up because it's not moving.
Yeah.
And then, like, it bites into it, like, what the hell? There's no blood in this thing.
Yeah, so a lot of it is the same thing, puncture marks, drained of blood. But the things that differ in a lot of these cases is the puncture marks. So sometimes it's one puncture mark, sometimes it's two, sometimes it's three or more. The only thing that's common between them is that they're completely drained of blood, but also the positioning of the puncturing too. Sometimes it's in the chest, sometimes it's in the skull, the neck. That varies too. So that's kind of weird. Doesn't seem to have a specific preference.
I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just one of those things where it's an animal and it strikes, kind of like a snake. It will strike you anywhere.
Yeah.
Or if it's fake.
I don't know. But
if you think if it was fake, it would be all in the same spot. Like if someone was trying to do a hoax, they're like,
well, a lot of it is in Puerto Rico. Like a lot of these sightings are in Puerto Rico.
Really?
Yeah, a bunch.
Oh wow.
There's a couple in Texas. There's one in Michigan for some reason. 8 calves frozen and dead. 2 were skinned of their hide from head to hooves, and 6 were skinned of all their hide from neck to hooves. All were black and white Holsteins and about a week old. That's kind of weird. That completely different than the other ones.
Yeah, that's
too.
not Chupacabra. That's just someone looking for leather.
In Miami, there were about 40 animals killed, and one woman saw a dog-like figure standing up with 2 short hands in the air, which is makes me think of a T-Rex for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah. In Mexico, many small mammals, dogs, have met with this tall animal-like being with 3-toed feet and hands. On haunches with 4 arms suspended at chest level, like a kangaroo, it has a row of spikes or straight feather-like projections from its head and down its back that raise and lower and have been seen to glow with their own light. Has been seen to take off on all 4s, and the sucking device seems to be a tube-like projection from the mouth, which is also pretty common in the reports of Chupacabra too, that they have this tube-like appendage that kind of aliens out, from...
Kind of like, do you remember Starship Troopers?
Yeah.
You remember that big-ass brain alien?
Yeah.
That tube that came out and stuck in its brain?
Yeah.
That's what it kind of makes me feel like.
Right.
Like, where he sucks their brains out.
But yeah, there's all kinds of sightings, and they're all, different. They have some similarities, but I mean, like I said, it changes a lot. Like the spot of the puncture mark, how many punctures there are. The only thing really common in between them, besides that weird Michigan case, was the fact that they're all drained of blood.
Yeah, but if it's mostly in Puerto Rico, I'm thinking like maybe it's an indigenous creature to Puerto Rico.
Specific for that area.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. It's weird. But what I was saying with the whole Skinwalkers and Chupacabra is, 1, it's a cryptid. And 2, there's a lot of indigenous people, obviously, that started out in Puerto Rico and also in the Latin American countries, the Aztecs, Incans, Mayans, yeah. I was like, well, brain fart. But, so do you think that maybe it's a type of Skinwalker from those cultures, or do you just think it's just cryptid? It has nothing to do with Skinwalkers at all?
I don't think it has anything to do with Skinwalker. I think it's a completely different animal, like whole different thing of its own category. Because, I mean, it's hard to explain. It's recent attacks, that have been blamed on the Chupacabra. That I don't know how to explain it. All right, you go ahead and explain your next point.
No, my next point was just just with, I guess because I looked at it like the canine. Because I never even heard of the leathered kangaroo reptilian creature at all. When I heard about the Chupacabra, that never entered my brain. But the canine did, and the canine, I've seen pictures of this canine creature, right? And it looks similar enough to a Skinwalker picture to be like, maybe, but I don't know. Like, maybe it is a Skinwalker, right? And it drains the blood for a spell, because they're into black magic too. So I don't know Either way, they are fascinating, and I 100% believe obviously in cryptids, but I believe that the Chupacabra is a type of species that we have not found yet, but I don't think it's canine. I think it's a flying creature.
I think like a bat.
Yeah, I think it's like just a giant vampire bat, or a species of vampire bat.
I don't know. It would have to be, if it was a bat, it would have to be like very few of them, if you know what I mean. Like most bats are like, they gather in like huge swarms of they call them groups of bats, but
it might not even be a bat though. What if it's a subterranean animal, like that lives in the dirt, kind of like a tremor or a
like
graboid,
some kind of worm that evolved.
Yeah, and then it comes up and it goes, or not even that. Like it just comes up out of the ground and then like that while they're laying down or sleeping
like
or something.
A giant leech.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be. Oh, that would make sense.
Yeah, like a subterranean leech that moves through the ground.
Just like a really big one.
I don't know if. Do you think Puerto Rico, the ground's like has a lot of rock? I guess it's an island, so it probably would because they're made by volcanoes. But
still, though, that would make the most sense, though. Just the way that you see a lot of the puncture marks, like the formation of it, and that would go along with the tube.
Yeah.
Type theory too.
So yeah, that's my theory. It's a leech-like subterranean creature,
that one would make the most sense.
Or giant bat, whichever one.
Yeah, I think I could get behind the
subterranean creature, like almost like a Mongolian death worm, but like it's I don't know how to describe it.
And then somehow,
but that's it.
Obviously could have migrated at some point.
I was going to say Puerto Rican, but like obviously it's in the other areas too. So I'm interested in what you guys think out in the audience. Like, what do you guys think that the Chupacabra is? Do you believe that it's just a creature that we haven't found yet with like that's a canine? Like, do you believe do you agree with me? Like the subterranean creature, like leech like? Do you think it's just a big bat that we haven't found yet, or do you just think it's bullshit?
Yeah, just made up.
Yeah, just made up and stuff. So, yeah, but thank you guys for listening to the first part of this episode with Skinwalkers with Brandon, and thank you for listening to the second part with me and Dom. So, thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next episode, which is going to be DB Cooper. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.